Crazy Stupid Love. So, lovely George from the Pulp Kitchen podcast, who we love, recently made a video on why Crazy Stupid Love isn't actually that great. You know, it's outdated. There's so many things in the film that just don't work anymore, or haven't worked, or, you know, just in general, it's not as good as people hold it up to be. It is not one of the best rom-coms to come out recently. So we sat down with your younger brother who hadn't seen the film, watched it, rewatched it for us, he watched it for the first time. This is one of my, you know, all-time kind of, I don't want to say, I'm hesitant to say all-time favorites, but I mean, just because how much that film I keep going back to with like friends, and like the amount of people I've shown this film to, or I had shown this film to, and of course, you know, Ryan Gosling is madly iconic in that film, and Steve Carell. It's got such a great cast, and it's just that kind of film that I could go to just have an amazing time with, and of course, spoilers, but like the twist in it is this crazy, almost Shakespearean like twist in the middle of a sort of raunchy rom-com. If you haven't seen Crazy Stupid Love, that's kind of what it's about. But I assume if you're still listening, you have. George from Pulp Kitchen podcast basically made a video saying how it's, you know, it's kind of outdated essentially. So we rewatched it, and what do you think? What do you think about the film? I haven't watched it on the second watch.
Firstly, it's hilarious. I'm a big Steve Carell fan, and I think he's hilarious.
Yeah.
And the film is funny. Like you said, all the sort of little storylines come together so well in such a Shakespearean and fun way.
Yeah.
And I'm a big sitcom fan, so I love watching all the like little storylines do their thing, and everyone's, you know, sleeping with everyone, and it all comes together.
It does have a kind of sitcom-y
yeah, exactly.
structure.
And so I'm a big fan of stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it, found it really funny. But I also think, and not to go too political and serious about what's clearly a hilarious and funny raunchy rom-com, but I think it isn't that outdated, and I actually think it's quite interesting for the times we live in.
Okay, go on.
Because basically, it's a film about masculinity and what it means to be a man, in my opinion.
Yes.
In lots of ways.
Yeah.
That, like, you know, he loses his wife.
Yeah.
She cheats on him. And why is that? And it's throughout the film, he's questioning basically his manhood. And he starts by looking to Ryan Gosling, the, you know, Andrew Tate-esque, obviously a lovely version, type.
Is he lovely? Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all he's doing is
he's
around.
funny.
He's a little bit slutty, but he's, you know, not evil. To sort of, you know, buy him the suits and pick up women and
be better than the Gap.
Be better than the Gap, exactly. And obviously, it's all done hilariously. You're constantly laughing. Their friendship is sweet. Like, it's all done with such a gentle and lovely touch. But basically, it's, you know, do I become that kind of man, or actually is what I need to do be honest about my feelings and who I love and go after that and take care of the people around me. And that's what the film's about, that question between, you know, what makes me a man and what makes me love and things like that. And I think really it's a very sweet film that sort of is very honest about those things.
Interesting.
Do you not think that at all?
No, I mean, no, I do think the film, for the most part, still holds up. I think you can still have such a good time with it.
Yeah.
I can understand. Listening to George, I can understand why some elements.
The little.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I can understand why some elements don't quite work, especially for the current times. But for me, let's take, for example, the whole Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling kind of, for lack of a better phrase, toxic male sort of trajectory that the film kind of goes in and sort of. It doesn't advertise, but like it glorifies it to a certain extent.
But it does it in a way that's like you could see. It's not patronizing. It's not like this is evil. It's like this is so much fun and this is hilarious. And they have found this friendship. And then it's quite honest about what that doesn't bring you.
Yeah.
It's not like, ooh, this is what you shouldn't do. Like,
but the reason I don't look at that and take it like seriously is because a lot of it is to do with Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling's dynamic in it and how it's played for laugh. And it's such a, they're almost like, Ryan Gosling is almost this caricature. Like, you know, he does some ridiculous things like throw Steve Carell's shoes off the balcony of the mall. Gosh. And like, it's so over the top.
When he's eating pizza.
Yeah.
Just like, that's it. That is just
and they're playing like almost like gladiator, like Arabian music. Good. Like, it's so fun and bizarre and weird, and it's hilarious. Like,
exactly, that's what I mean. It's not a critique on society. I'm just saying, if you're going for that film's like not appropriate or that film is outdated. I actually don't believe that because of its underlying message.
Yes.
That like, and I like also why like the film isn't preachy. The film is fun. The film is a raunchy rom-com. Like you want to have that shot underneath of him eating pizza with the Gladiator music and to slap Steve Carell because it's funny, like, and it works. And I don't know.
But it's almost even funnier now because of how we perceive that kind of lifestyle and see how ridiculous it is. You can look at it and be like, oh my God, this is actually hilarious. And also, like you said, like the actual film itself, what Steve Carell's character the journey he kind of goes on, this journey of manhood, he gets to a point where his wife's cheating on him, Julianne Moore's cheated on him, and he meets Ryan Gosling, this guy who basically objectifies women, sleeps with women, and Steve Carell begins to do that. He begins to objectify women. He begins to go on this rampage. There's this bar he basically has sex with nine women, and
not all at once.
And what happens? The film shows you that he doesn't find happiness in that. He doesn't find fulfillment in that. The answers he's looking for don't lie in that kind of lifestyle. So the moral of the film is exactly that. It isn't. If someone looks at the film and thinks that the film is basically saying that, you need to be like this Ryan Gosling character, then, I mean... And
even Ryan Gosling, like, when he's...
By the way, George, I'm not saying that you think that, but...
Yeah, but when he ends up in bed with...
Emma Stone.
And they don't sleep together, spoiler alert, but they're talking... And he finally finds a real connection with someone.
Exactly.
And he opens up and you realise how sad he is and how lonely he is and how much the money and all of that brings him nothing, how much the women bring him nothing. And he starts to have a human connection and becomes so much happier and all of this kind of stuff. It's not an like you said, it's not an advertisement for the toxic lifestyle. It's definitely a very heartwarming, heartfelt film about love. Stupid love, how to love.
Well, no,
well,
that's exactly the point. And we'll get onto the second sort of bit that we want to talk about. But yes, I think like both Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling, Steve Carell more so, but they both go on a change of sorts. Their characters do develop through the course of the runtime. Ryan Gosling meets Emma Stone, and she's a girl that isn't like the want to say hundreds of girls that he slept with before. She gives him something different. Like she this is actually someone he can he's feeling love for, and maybe for the first time. And I think it still works. It still holds up for the most part. Now the stuff that perhaps doesn't hold up so much is quite, for lack of a better word, illegal, but but
I will actually, and you're going to be surprised at the stance I take on
oh
this.
My gosh. But are you about to justify this?
Okay, other than the last scene,
I
actually don't think any of it's that bad. Like, can't lie, I'm sure in your school, loads of the boys had crushes on teachers or parents. Like loads
of the boys, me as well, man. No,
okay. Shush. And in my school, obviously, loads of the girls had crushes on male teachers and male parents. Like, I think part of being an adolescent is partly, like fancying people that aren't appropriate for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's an issue if they are then like, yes, because
it's illegal
and wrong. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the fact that the little boy fancies his childminder, because that, like, obviously that happens. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the babysitter fancying the dad, because 100% that happens. And I think it's quite funny in the film, and it's something, there is a time in people's lives where they are like figuring things out and fancying the wrong people and like all of this kind of stuff.
It's almost like for what's her name, Jessica. This, I'm sure this is more common with girls, but girls have like the weird crush, like they fancy someone who isn't like typical, like the first, but you wouldn't look at them and be like, oh my god, they're this super attractive, but there's just something about them. Whereas guys definitely look at girls and fancy them definitely more based on look.
100%. There were definitely girls in my school that fancied the like really bad looking teachers, and everyone was like, what the fuck is that?
Right. There's something like, weird. So, and like I do feel like it does fit into the the whole crazy stupid love idea of it. very on the nose, but yeah, there you go. That whole kind of love triangle thing is so, like, you use the word funny. It is funny, but it is also weird, and that's why it kind of works. Is because you question like whether or not you're supposed to be laughing at this,
but
or
also,
not.
yeah, it gives you that like moment of like, oh my god, what's
Yes,
happening?
like,
What's happening? Oh, like,
yeah.
and that's kind of the point. And I don't have an issue with that. I think everyone sort of, you know, I think that if there was one issue I would have with the whole like,
Yeah.
what the message is of this film, is it appropriate, whatever, would be the young boy pursuing the babysitter, that like everyone's like the right thing to do is just keep pursuing her. I feel a bit like,
Yeah.
bro, like either way, like there's nothing wrong with having a crush on someone at all, but obviously like if someone going, you're weird, you're making me feel uncomfortable, please stop. Like,
yeah,
he's young, I don't blame him, but like everyone around him should have been like, yeah mate, like chill, like I don't know.
Yeah. But also they are like very much like, oh, he's just a dumb kid. Like,
yeah, no, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
Like I'm not against it, but like I feel like in that whole storyline, that is, if I was to take issue with anything. But again, I don't really like, I don't know, I think it's funny and I think it's sweet, and love is stupid and crazy and all over the place. Yeah,
I mean, like you said, it is funny and it's sweet until the very last moment of the film.
Yeah, okay,
where Jessica
justify this.
Yeah, this George, you got us now. This we can't really justify because basically the end of the film, of course, Jessica gives Robbie the nudes that she took and were meant for Steve Carell, his dad. And obviously he's a minor. So obviously, firstly, that's just illegal. Secondly,
that's illegal.
Yeah, it does give you, and again, for me, it doesn't debunk the whole film, but it does leave you with a kind of like nervous laugh kind of sort of a moment as you hit the end credits. Like it's
that is very outdated. Like that's very illegal.
No, of course, I don't do that. But like,
other than that, I don't know. I don't think it's creepy. I think it's aged fine. I actually think it's aged quite well.
Yeah. But the thing is, it was illegal back when it came out as well. So what do you think is
I think it's the growth of social media and onlineness, that nudes used to be a thing. And then they became like the thing, especially for young people, and that like,
start taking that thing a lot more seriously, as we should, But no, all in all, though, I think this is it still hits, right? It's still fun. But fair enough. If you think Crazy Stupid Love is outdated, if you think it doesn't hit the same as it used to do, or you're of that similar kind of thought. Do let us know, and similarly, if you do still enjoy the film, if you still think the film holds up, do let us know as well. I would love to get your take on the film in today's current age.